Let me ask you something that might sting a little. Have you ever told yourself, I'm gonna dream big, and then done absolutely nothing about it? We live in a world intoxicated by the idea that if you dream big enough, somehow, the universe will conspire to make it happen. Well, I've got news for you. That's not how it works. Dreaming big is not the finish line. It's the starting gun. And if you don't back that dream with relentless execution, unshakable strategy, and raw personal ownership, that big dream becomes a beautiful prison of fantasy. People aren't failing because they dream too small. They're failing because they only dream and never do. Let's rip the illusion wide open today. Let's talk truth. Let's talk power. This is your wake-up call. Because the world doesn't need more dreamers. It needs doers with vision. Dreaming big without action is a recipe for disappointment. It's seductive, isn't it? You sit back, close your eyes, imagine the life you want. The wealth, the impact, the freedom. You feel good just thinking about it. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. That dream by itself means absolutely nothing. In fact, it can become a drug, a false sense of progress. You feel inspired, you talk about your future, you post about the grind. But at the end of the day, nothing has changed. Why? Because dreaming gives you the dopamine hit without the demand for discipline. It gives you comfort without commitment, and in this comfort zone, growth dies. Every time you tell yourself, I've got a big dream, and fail to follow through with real action, you weaken your own belief system. You teach your mind that talk is enough, that wishing is a strategy, and it's not. Success doesn't care how big your dream is. Success only answers to work, to consistency, to sacrifice. Every millionaire, every impact maker, every world class leader you admire didn't just dream big. They acted bold. They built systems, faced resistance, got knocked down, and kept moving forward. They weren't seduced by the illusion that vision alone creates value. They knew that vision without action is delusion. So if you've got a big dream, that's great. But don't stop there. Ask yourself, what am I doing today that moves me 1 inch closer? What pain am I willing to endure to make that dream real? Because if your dream doesn't demand more from you, more focus, more urgency, more ownership, it's just a fantasy. This is where most people fail, not because they didn't have the vision, but because they didn't respect the process. And if you're serious, truly serious, about making it happen, then the time for dreaming is over. Now it's time to decide to act, to execute like your life depends on it, because it does. Most people think the size of the dream matters most. But let me tell you something. The size of your dream is irrelevant if you don't know why it matters to you. Clarity, real emotional, soul-piercing clarity, is more powerful than any fantasy you could ever create in your mind. Because clarity creates focus. It creates fire. Without it, you're chasing a fog. People say, I want to be rich. Okay. Why? I want freedom. Great. But what does freedom look like for you? What does it feel like? If your reason isn't crystal clear, if you haven't burned it into your nervous system, it will vanish the moment life hits back, and it will hit back. The universe doesn't reward vague goals. It rewards certainty. Think about it. If you tell your brain, I want success, but you don't define what that success means to you, your brain doesn't know what to do with that. It has no roadmap. It can't create direction or urgency. That's why most people procrastinate. Not because they're lazy, but because they're unclear. Clarity gives your dream teeth. It turns someday into now. It forces you to look at your life and ask, what am I tolerating? What am I pretending not to know? What do I truly, deeply, unapologetically want? And am I willing to pay the price? And here's the part nobody wants to hear. If your dream doesn't come from you, it will break you. If it's built on what society told you to want, what your parents expected, what looks good on Instagram, it won't last. Because when the pressure hits, when the grind gets real, that borrowed dream will collapse under its own weight. But if your dream is rooted in your truth, in your mission, in your emotional why, you become unstoppable. You won't need motivation, you'll be pulled. So don't just dream big, get clear, get honest, dig deep. Know what you want, know why it matters, and then go make it real. Not for the dream, but for the version of you that gets born in the pursuit. That version, that's the one who changes the game. Emotion is powerful. But let me tell you something most people don't want to admit. Emotion fades. Fire burns out. Motivation is a liar if it's not backed by a real strategy. You can feel hyped up at a seminar. You can scream your dream from the rooftop. But if you wake up the next morning without a system, you're already behind. Success doesn't come to the most emotional person. It comes to the most prepared. The ones who design their days, who engineer their habits, who build systems that make success automatic. You think LeBron James becomes a champion because he feels inspired every day. No, he's got a system, from what he eats to how he trains to who he surrounds himself with. That's not emotion, that's execution architecture. You want real momentum, get strategic. Build rituals that remove decision fatigue. Set goals that are measurable, trackable, non-negotiable. Create an environment that fuels your identity, not drains it. Because if you're depending on how you feel to determine how you perform, you're already losing. Listen, emotion can start the engine, but strategy keeps the car moving forward when the road gets rough. And it will get rough. Life will punch you in the face, that's guaranteed. But if you've got a system, you don't collapse. You course correct. You don't panic. You adapt. Let me make it real for you. If your goal is to get in the best shape of your life, dreaming about it isn't enough. You need a plan. What time will you train? What will you eat? What will you do when you don't feel like it? That's where systems save you. They replace wishful thinking with predictable progress. And here's the best part. When you build the right system, momentum takes over. You no longer need to force effort. It becomes who you are. You get results. Results create belief, and belief fuels more action. That's how you escape the trap of starting and stopping. So stop chasing motivation. Build a machine. Build a system that outworks your feelings. That's how you stop dreaming and start dominating. Let me tell you something straight up. Motivation is cheap. It's like sugar. It gives you a quick high, then crashes you into reality. And that's where most people quit. They ride the wave of inspiration until the tide goes out. And they're stuck, cold, alone, tired, and back where they started. You don't build a powerful life on motivation. You build it on discipline, the ability to show up when you don't feel like it, the ability to act even when no one's watching. Discipline is the muscle of greatness. It's not sexy, but it's what separates those who wish from those who win. Consistency, that's the silent assassin of mediocrity. You don't get fit going to the gym 1 week hard. You don't build wealth saving for a month. You don't build a legacy showing up when it's easy. You do it when it's hard. You do it when it's boring. You do it when your friends are out and you're in grinding. And every time you keep that promise to yourself, you reprogram your identity. You become the kind of person who follows through. And that's everything, because it's not what you do once that changes your life. It's what you do daily. Repetition is the mother of mastery. And the truth is, most people are chasing a feeling when they should be mastering a pattern. You want long-term transformation. Don't ask, how do I stay motivated? Ask, what structure will force me to stay consistent? What rules will I live by no matter how I feel? Because discipline isn't a punishment. It's freedom. It's how you escape the cycle of starting over. And here's the secret. Discipline creates motivation. When you push through resistance, you build strength. When you stay consistent, you gain confidence. And that confidence fuels you. It becomes a loop. a compounding loop. You go from crawling to walking, walking to running, running to dominating. So kill the myth that motivation will save you. It won't. Build routines, build standards, build a non-negotiable version of yourself, because in the end, it's not the most excited person who wins. It's the one who keeps showing up long after the mood has passed. Here's the raw truth that no one talks about. You will never outperform your identity. You can set massive goals. You can build a 10-step plan. You can write affirmations on your mirror every morning. But if deep down you still see yourself as average, unworthy, or small, your results will always collapse back to match your self-image. Your identity is the thermostat of your life. You might crank up the heat with hard work, but if the internal setting is still stuck at broke, lazy, undisciplined, or not enough, you'll unconsciously find ways to bring it all back down. That's why so many people self-sabotage, not because they're weak, but because their identity hasn't caught up to their dream. If you want to build a new life, you've got to become a new version of yourself. That starts with making the decision, not just to do different, but to be different. You must declare, I'm the kind of person who finishes. I'm the kind of person who leads. I'm the kind of person who gets it done, no matter what. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with a version of you that's already living the life you desire. Identity is built through evidence. You don't need to wait 10 years to feel like a winner. You start acting like one today through your habits, your decisions, and how you show up under pressure. Every time you keep your word, push through fear, or take the hard road, you're casting a vote for the next version of yourself. That's how identity shifts, not through hype, through habits, through proof. Want a 7-figure business? Start thinking like a 7-figure CEO. Want a body that radiates energy and strength? Start acting like someone who respects their temple. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for permission. Step into the identity now and let the results catch up. Because when your identity matches your dream, you stop chasing success and start attracting it. You become a force, a standard, a person who doesn't hope but expects greatness. That's how transformation sticks. That's how dreams become reality, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. Let's finish this strong. Ideas are cheap. Everyone has them. Everyone's got $1 million idea, a world-changing vision, a breakthrough concept. But here's what separates the successful from the stuck execution. You don't get paid for what's in your head. You get rewarded for what you do. Execution is the highest form of respect you can show to your dream. When you act consistently, urgently, and boldly, you tell the universe, I'm not just here to wish, I'm here to win. Too many people worship inspiration but ignore implementation. They read all the books, watch all the videos, take all the courses, and yet their life doesn't change. Why? Because learning is not doing. Thinking is not transforming. Every breakthrough in your life will come from movement. From putting your foot on the gas when everyone else is still talking about where to go, while others are still planning, preparing, perfecting. You're executing while they're doubting you're doing. That's the edge. That's the game. And listen, execution doesn't mean you'll always get it right. In fact, you'll screw up a lot. But action creates clarity. Every time you take a step, you get feedback. You adjust, you grow, you build momentum. That's something no dream alone can ever give you. A dream without action is just a hallucination. But when you move, when you execute, even imperfectly, you separate yourself from 98% of the population. Want to start a business, make the call, build the product, sell something. Want to change your body, throw out the junk, go for the run, hire the coach. Want to transform your life, get off the sidelines. Stop consuming and start creating, because action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real, consistent, relentless. Every single day you execute, you're proving to yourself that you are no longer just a dreamer. You are a producer, a creator, a leader of your life. Execution is worship. It's how you honor your calling. So stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for confidence. Do it now. Do it messy. Do it scared. Just do it. Because greatness doesn't belong to the dreamers. It belongs to the executors.